Let the meltdown begin. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be doing this thing in style this evening, as the UFC might be off, but it doesn't mean we're not throwing it down with one of the UFC's best, as CB Dollaway has worked his way into the top 10. And I look forward to seeing who CB Dollaway's next opponent is. CB Dollaway will join us on tonight's MMA Meltdown. Everybody's talking about the Jon Jones-Daniel Cormier throwdown at the MGM. And I'll tell you what, I've spent a lot of hours in that MGM lobby, and I've stumbled in, just hammered out of my mind a couple of times, and I've nearly stumbled into that big-ass line that they have. And it's a dangerous spot for Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier to be throwing it down. There's a lot of marble there, and there's fountains, and there's giant gold lions and everything else in between. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's unprofessional, man. It's bad for the sport. Shut up. It's nothing bad for the sport. It's like saying that hockey, needs no fighting. Fighting's bad in hockey. People stand up and cheer when there's a fight, and now everybody's talking about the fight, and I find it comical that I see, the UFC brass says there's going to be ramifications when Dana White tweeted his excitement after the throwdown. So Dana White saying, no, it's all good, yet the UFC brass says, no, that's no good. Sort of like steroids, actually, but that's besides the point. We got some great videos of the week this week, including the Jones-Cormier throwdown, Klitschko and Briggs, and we got a ton of stuff to get to. So without further ado, let's bring in a man who's he's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, but I say that's crap, because the dude's really 5-0, because I know and he knows, but he's too classy to bitch about it. He beat Tim Boetsch, so we should be saying that he's on a 5-fight win streak right now. CB Dollaway steps up, and then CB, always a pleasure, my man. How you doing?
Doing good. Just getting ready for my daughter's first birthday. Having a nice little birthday bash coming up here next weekend. So getting around for that and just relaxing on my time off.
Congratulations. And I was going to ask you, too. I've known you for a little while, and you're a guy that used to like to have fun. And, you would enjoy yourself. And you were a hell of a fighter. But it seems now you sort of put everything together. I often hear from people, and people tell me, Morency, you should get married and have a kid. It'll chill you out a bit. But I speak to a lot of fighters that, once they get married and they have a kid, it really changes their perspective on everything. It sounds cliche, changes their perspective on everything. But then ultimately it also helps them a hell of a lot in the gym as well. Is that true in your case?
Yeah, definitely. You're not just doing it for yourself anymore. You have a family to support and, someone looking up to you now. So, yeah, you find yourself changing your ways a little bit, and getting a little more serious about, your profession. Because, like I said, now you got people counting on you.
CB, before I jump into what's going on with you, just your quick take on Cormier and Jones. People, out there saying, oh, it's bad for the sport. It's unprofessional. And, ultimately, you don't want to turn things into a circus all the time. But if it's real and guys don't like each other and they're going to throw down, then, hey, they're going to throw down. And it has people talking about it. Where do you stand on this? 'Cause I see Matt Hughes saying, never do that. That was embarrassing. Rich Franklin says it's very unprofessional. You can't do that if you're going to represent the UFC. And, I get it. You don't want to be walking around the Vegas Strip beating the crap out of people. But I don't have a problem with two fighters sort of get at it at the press conference. Do you?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed watching it. It definitely hyped the fight more. And I don't think it's fake. I don't think it was something planned to happen. I think it just happened. Things just escalated real quickly, like Ron Burgundy says it, really got out of hand quick. Yeah, I don't think it was anything that was planned for them, or it wasn't even a decision. They just found themselves in the moment. I think these guys really, have a dislike for each other, and, you have the world champion and then the number one contender. When these guys start getting heated up, they're going to go at each other, and, it's kind of good for the fans to see that and then to hype the fight up before it actually goes down, I think.
Man, these two are so polarizing. An odds maker that joins us, Joey Odessa, he was talking about the line to the fight, saying he thinks Jones is a little bit too heavily favored, and Jones's manager starts tweeting him, saying you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I don't want to get you in. I don't want to get you in any trouble right now. But I'm going to put you in the hot seat. For the record, I think Cormier's going to beat him, man. You're a wrestler, so Cormier's an Olympian wrestler, but Jones is a wrestler too. But ultimately, I think Cormier is going to beat him. I think Cormier is just a freak, a little rhino, a badass, and I think he's going to beat Jones. What do you think right now?
Yeah, I think he's got a good shot at it. Probably the best of anyone with just his wrestling pedigree. He's an Olympian. He's head and shoulders above John Jones in the wrestling aspect. And I think he's a deceptively strong and very deceptively fast guy. And I think he'll be able to close that distance and get in on John. I think we're going to see a great fight. But, yeah, I think Daniel, in my opinion, has a slight edge. But, who knows? I think the fans will be the winners on this one.
Yeah, this really is shaping up to be an epic showdown. So, people are saying, it could be fake, and I don't think the UFC is going to put him up to that. That's dangerous around that fountain in the MGM lobby, man. There's marble, and there's things sticking out, and you don't want to be having your two fighters rolling around there and risking injury. So I don't think it was staged.
Yeah, I saw him tossing people around. John Jones, I think, grabbed Dave's shoulder and chucked him out of the way onto something, going after DC. It didn't look fake at all to me. It looked like they were really trying to get at each other. I saw some punches getting thrown that, they weren't love taps. So
I think if you throw Dave Scholl or John Anik off the stage, you're getting fined, man, CP. I wouldn't do it if I was you. Jones can get away with it.
To do it. I think those guys will be all right, though.
yeah, I think they'll be all right. So, I think Jones actually went in here, and I think Jones did it deliberately. I don't think the UFC put anybody up to it, but I think Jones went in there saying to himself, I'm going to stir the pot. I'm going to get in this guy's head, or at least attempt to get into his head. So we've seen in the past couple of years, guys that talk, they get their opportunities. The UFC is looking for showmen, so to speak. And I know that people have asked you about this in the past, with your interview after. I thought you had a great performance. And what do people want you to say after? I'm King Kong and, F the world and everything else in between. You seem to sort of be a lot like the way Cub Swanson is. I'll talk, I'll win in the cage and set me up with a top opponent and let's do this thing. Is that where you're at right now? You don't want to become somebody you're not just to start running your mouth to get some internet headlines?
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, though. And that's, as much as it is kind of cliche to talk and say stuff after your interview, that's what gets people excited. Look how excited everyone is for this fight now. I was excited for it before, but now I'm especially excited. So, as part of the job description, you got to, maybe start a little drama here and there, and make yourself interesting, make people want to watch you. And then when they are watching, then you got to put on a performance too. So, it's more than just fighting. It's a business, and you got to get people excited about watching your fight.